So this is the Galaxy S21 FE. I have spent an entire year with it. So let's start off things with the design. Now as for the design, its back is made of plastic and the front is Gorilla Glass Victus. And how is it after a year? Well, I've managed to crack the screen while for making it fall, and then I've managed to get some bends here and there in the aluminium rail, and I managed to get some deep scuffs and screws in the plastic itself. So as you can probably imagine, the durability isn't very good on this phone. Now the most likely reason that I got all these damages is because I didn't use a case for a very long time, and after getting all these damages I just realized I had to get a case. So even though I didn't like it, I had to get a case, and thereafter I haven't had any major issues with it. And the next thing I want to talk about is the display. Now the display is a 1080p 120Hz Full HD display, now made by Samsung themselves. Now it's a very bright, it has 800 peak brightness, and it's a very vivid and very beautiful display. And even after a year, I still really love this display. I mean, it's gorgeous, the colors are much more attractive and lively if you ask me. Sometimes this display is so good, I just watch content just to experiment on the display, just to watch those beautiful colors just pop. So as you can imagine, the display is really good, and even after a year, this is still rocking solid.
But because the screen is an 800 nit peak brightness screen, when you go outdoors, it's really hard to see what's on the screen, and it's really hard to see the content that you are watching. So that's something to keep in mind when you're getting the Galaxy S21 FE.
So now let's just straight up get into these cameras. Now this is a 12 megapixel ultra-wide, 12 megapixel main, and a 3x telephoto with an 8 megapixel camera. And alongside we have the flash, and up front we have the 32 megapixel selfie camera. And let's actually start with the selfies actually. Now the selfies this takes, it's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the difference between the selfies taken from this and my S22 Ultra is, I mean the S22 Ultra is better, but only by a little amount. And when you shoot in the 32 megapixel mode, you get that lot of detail in your photo and the nice background blur actually. Because it's a high resolution, the background blur is really natural, and it just looks like you've taken it on a DSLR. Now let's get to daytime photos with the, by the way, the night photos on the selfie camera kind of suck. I mean, it's not the best thing you can do. But getting back to the rear cameras, I'll start off with day photos. Now in day photos, all three cameras are really great, and sometimes the ultra-wide and the telephoto look really bad in the preview, but trust me, after you tap the shutter button, and the photos you receive are really colorful and vivid. I mean, I'm sure you've heard this somewhere else, but the photos the Samsung always takes is saturated, not overly saturated, but saturated enough that it's almost like the way you edit them to be. They are already Instagram ready, so you could just snap the photo with your phone and then upload it to Instagram or TikTok or whatever you want. And yeah, that's about the daytime, and there's nothing to actually complain about even the 3x telephoto, even though it's 8 megapixels, the resolution is not something that you would worry about. And all the cameras look really all the photos of all the cameras look really detailed, and there's nothing much to complain about the cameras in daytime. And if we talk about zoom, this phone has a maximum range of 30 times zoom, and the only time I would recommend it is when you're zooming to the moon. And zooming to the moon is an absolute pleasure on this phone. I really loved it, but I don't think you should use this 30 times zoom for anything else. I mean, the max zoom I would use this is 10 times, and not much more than that. So I mean, if you want, you could zoom 30 times. The ability is there, but it just looks so grainy and oversharp. And I mean, most iPhones at this price range cannot even zoom 10 times. So that's something to keep in mind. Zoom is really good on this. And let's talk about night photos. I mean, they have a lot of noise, to be honest, especially the ultra-wide. Ultra-wide has a lot of noise, and this is something that I see throughout every Samsung phone with other reviews that I see. They are most usually grainy. So the 3x telephoto is not the best, but it's better than the ultra-wide. And the ultra-wide is kind of sucks, to be honest. But I think the main is the only one main camera is the only one that you should use when you're in super low light. But other than that, then you shouldn't worry about other things. And there's something I should mention about the night mode photos here. So when you tap the shutter button, it takes about 10 to 12 seconds for each photo to process. To capture. So you should hold your phone for, I don't know, 10 12 seconds until the phone captures the entire moment. But the result it gives is sometimes even brighter than my Galaxy S22 Ultra photos. So I'm kind of pleased about the night mode on this. And let's talk about some other things about the camera, such as Pro mode. So in Pro mode, it actually gives you the entire ability of the camera, what the camera could entirely do. So Pro mode photos it's Pro photos there, so you could have that high amount of editability to photos. Let's talk about portrait mode. Now the portrait mode is really good on here. Now it's not good as the Galaxy S22 Ultra that I have, and so don't mistake it for that. But the portraits really have a good cutout, and even though the background blur is in the natural, you could adjust it. You could adjust it, and the portraits then will look a lot better. And the cutouts are, almost perfect. There will be only 1 or 2 missed spots. Other than that, the portraits look really perfect. And yeah, there are many other features such as dual recording and stuff. Yeah, you could record from both the cameras at once. And there are things like slow motion, super slow motion. I wouldn't use super slow motion, but slow motion is cool. So if you want, you could use slow motion. And there are things like panorama mode and food mode, like it will highlight the food that you are trying to take. And panorama mode is essentially a long photo that you it's kind of like a couple of exposures. So I'm sure you have seen panorama mode photos before. And there are other things such as hyperlapse, which is a time lapse essentially. And there are things such as portrait video. So yeah, portrait video isn't the greatest. I would probably skip it. So speaking in terms of battery life, the battery life has been great, and especially after the One UI 5 update, the battery life has been improved by about 20 minutes or 15 minutes. Now it supports up to 25 watt fast charging. It's not fast because I've seen many other Chinese brands like 200 watt charging, and this is still a shame to see 25 watt charging. But overall, even though it has 25 watt charging, this thing without any problem, if charged up to 100% in the morning, then definitely will last a day. Now, so it has a 45 mAh battery, and then so as I said earlier, you shouldn't probably worry about the battery life in here. And even after a year, I don't think I've noticed any difference with the start and now. So you could still get this phone without concerning battery life.
And this is what the speakers of the Galaxy S21 FE sound like.
And the software on this is an absolute pleasure to use. Now, the software on this is of course One UI, and I've updated it to One UI 5. And after that, the transitions and the animations have been really, really smooth, and has a lively feeling to it. Now, One UI is my favorite UI of all the many UIs I've tested in the past. And that's the main reason why I always go for Samsung instead of an iPhone or a Xiaomi or Oppo, Vivo. Now, the One UI experience on this is really smooth, as I told before. And one of the other reasons I love One UI is for its many features. For the many features it has, like photo remastering, like quick share, different notification adjustments, and the main thing is customization. Now, I'm a really deep customization person, so I customize my phone a lot, and things like Good Lock app and the many other one-hand plus operation, lock star and the lock screen things, and it can do, and so many hidden labs features and hidden gallery features and many other features that you do not have on other phones. This thing, even though it's kind of a mid-range phone, it delivers. When I say it delivers about 80-90% of the entire experience that my Galaxy S22 Ultra has. So it's really solid for One UI, and there's nothing much you could worry about software updates. This thing has 3 more OS updates to go. So I mean, a normal phone brand like Vivo, Oppo, or Xiaomi casually has 3 OS updates when it releases. Now when this releases, it had 4 years of updates. Now I have updated it to 1.5 and has 3 more years to go. So it's looking really solid.